Everything changed in a matter of seconds. Welcome to NFL Nexus. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button on this explainer, comment your thoughts down below, and support us by becoming a channel member. Today's cinematic explainer dives deep into the razor-thin margins of the 2026 Philadelphia Eagles. We are literally pulling back the curtain on a franchise that is walking a terrifying tightrope right now, somewhere between absolute dynasty-level dominance and total catastrophic collapse. Look, the pieces are all in place. This roster has been meticulously assembled by Howie Roseman. We're talking years of highly valued draft capital, massive free agent financial investments, and of course, the incredibly delicate management of Jalen Hurts' $250 million extension. They've pushed all their chips to the middle of the table. But beneath the surface of this glittering, star-studded roster, there is a massive, uncontrollable storm brewing. So you really have to ask yourself, what happens when a Super Bowl window is pushed to its absolute breaking point, with an entire city's expectations bearing down on you? Because guys, this isn't just about X's and O's anymore. This is about pure survival in the most unforgiving sports city in America. Philadelphia is a brutal media market. It's a city with a historical demand for absolute excellence that has famously broken weak rosters and shattered fragile egos over the decades. I mean, think about it. A single injury, a single blown coverage assignment on a critical third down, or a single misstep in the trenches could unravel years of meticulous front office planning. The margin for error? It's completely gone. It vanished the exact moment the offseason ended. Section 1. The calm before the storm. Setting the standard for 2026. To truly grasp where this defense is going, we have to understand the baseline of absolute brutality they established last season. And look at this chart. These aren't just cold statistics. These are blueprints of destruction. Picture Jordan Davis out there. He became a total immovable object in the center of the defensive line, racking up 72 tackles. But the most devastating number on his stat sheet, it's actually those 6 batted passes. When a massive defensive tackle just swats down a pass at the line of scrimmage, it completely shatters an opposing quarterback's rhythm. It instantly derails offensive drives and forces these desperate third and long situations. Then you have Moro Ojomo, who basically emerged from the shadows with an incredible 49 pressures, just constantly collapsing the pocket. But the standard, the true violent standard, was set by Jalex Hunt. Hunt didn't just casually get 6.5 sacks. He logged a staggering 16.9% pressure rate alongside 52 tackles. To put that into perspective, in the National Football League, a 16.9% pressure rate means the quarterback is feeling the heat, getting hit or being hurried on nearly 1 out of every 5 dropbacks by a single player. Hunt actually became the first Eagles player in franchise history to lead the team in sacks and interceptions in the same season. That extreme physical toll he puts on offenses, that is the new baseline for this defense. Section 2. Fangio's brutal tough love. The accountability culture. But here's the thing. Raw numbers aren't enough to survive in this ecosystem. Defensive coordinator Vic Fangio operates with this blunt, old-school mentality that literally tests the mental fortitude of every single player on the roster. You are absolutely not going to find any kid gloves in his office. Let's set the scene for a second. It's week 6, Thursday Night Football. The primetime lights are blinding. Safety Drew Makuba blows a massive tackle against Wan'Dale Robinson, and it results directly in a devastating touchdown for the Giants. This quote right here is from Makuba reflecting on the aftermath of that exact play. For 3 straight weeks, Fangio did not let up. He pushed Makuba to the absolute brink, tearing him down meticulously, day after day, just to build him back up into an indestructible mental fortress. This brutal accountability manifests itself in those cold, dark film rooms. I want you to picture the red laser pointer dancing across the projector screen, the complete, terrifying silence in the room as Fangio rewinds and dissects a single false step by a defensive back. It is psychological warfare, and it's designed specifically to weed out those who cannot handle the suffocating pressure of January football. In Fangio's world, tough love is the strongest love. Honestly, if you can't survive the blistering heat of his criticism on a Tuesday morning, you simply will not survive the grueling 17-game season. If Fangio didn't believe in a player's ultimate ceiling, he literally wouldn't even waste the breath to yell at them. This intense, uncompromising standard is the secret engine driving the entire back end of this defense. And Makuba needs that mental fortress right now more than ever. Before disaster struck him last year, his 46 tackles and 2 interceptions were just the foundation of what was shaping up to be a phenomenal rookie campaign. But then came week 12. Friendly fire from Sidney Brown resulted in a fractured fibula, abruptly and tragically ending his run. Now the stakes are exponentially higher for him. The defense lost high IQ veteran Reed Blankenship to Houston in free agency. Blankenship wasn't just a safety, he was the coach on the field. He was the pre-snap communicator. Losing him creates a massive, terrifying communication void in the secondary. So now Makuba, coming off a shattered leg, has to step up. He has to align shutdown cornerbacks like Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, and Tariq Woolen in real time, all while processing incredibly complex pre-snap offensive motions. The cognitive load being placed on his shoulders this season is absolutely staggering. Section 3. The next defensive superstars. Filling the void. 78.6. I really want to let that microscopic number sink in for a second, because it carries macroscopic implications for this team. That 78.6 was Jahad Campbell's coverage grade as a rookie last year. It was actually the fourth highest among all NFL linebackers who played at least 600 snaps. And you have to remember, modern NFL offenses are specifically designed to isolate and destroy linebackers. They use blazing fast slot receivers and massive, hyper-athletic tight ends to just torture the middle of the field. Just surviving 600 snaps is an achievement in today's league, but grading out an elite 78.6, that is a sheer revelation. It means Campbell has this extremely rare ability to smoothly flip his hips, run stride for stride with offensive weapons, and completely shut down the passing lanes over the middle. Now, when you let a player like Nakobe Dean walk in free agency, you better have a flawless contingency plan ready to go. Campbell stepping in full-time for Dean is a monumental shift. His 80 tackles as a fill-in last year prove he undeniably belongs in the violent trenches of the NFL. But here is the specific mechanical advantage that makes this so exciting. He is going to be playing right next to All-Pro Zach Bond. And Bond essentially acts as a shield. He absorbs those massive 300-pound offensive guards who pull on run plays, which keeps Campbell entirely clean to just hunt the ball carrier sideline to sideline. Fangio's scheme uses heavy defensive fronts to eat up blocks, allowing the linebackers to flow freely. If Campbell plays anywhere near the level of Dean, this unit isn't just going to be good. The combination of his coverage skills and Bond's elite run defense could literally solidify this as the single most terrifying defense in the entire National Football League. Section 4. The offensive arsenal analyzed. Sean Mannion's new scheme. Shifting to the other side of the ball, the Eagles' offense under Sean Mannion is a literal powder keg just waiting for a spark. The live bullets are about to fly, and the granular ratings of this roster reveal exactly where they plan to dominate and exactly where they might bleed out. Notice the stark contrast across the board here. They boast an elite, absolute perfect 10 for the tight ends, a massive 9 for both the wide receivers and the offensive line. But then the vulnerability is exposed right at the bottom, a deeply concerning 7 for the running backs. This tells a terrifying story of an offense that is dangerously unbalanced in the backfield. If the running game stutters early in the season, opposing pass rushers are simply going to pin their ears back and tee off. Play action becomes utterly useless. The entire offensive ecosystem relies on the legitimate threat of the run. And right now, that threat is highly suspect. We really have to unpack this massive dichotomy because it's fascinating. On one side, you have the sheer uncertainty of Saquon Barkley's workload. After his downward trend in 2025, where we saw his yards after contact significantly drop and his legs looking noticeably heavy in the fourth quarter, you have to wonder, are his monster truck tires finally running out of tread? Plus, he is now sharing a very murky, chaotic backfield with Tank Bigsby, Will Shipley, and Dameon Pierce. A crowded committee like that often means no single running back ever establishes a true, punishing rhythm. But contrast that severe anxiety with the impenetrable security of the tight end room. Dallas Goedert is a locked-in master of the position, constantly executing flawless block and release mechanics. He's backed up by a pure blocking specialist in Johnny Munt. And then there is the explosive, mismatch nightmare potential of rookie Eli Stowers. Stowers is simply too massive for cornerbacks to handle and entirely too fast for linebackers to cover down the seam. It is a room built on pure, absolute certainty. Under center, Jalen Hurts obviously remains the unquestioned $250 million engine of the franchise. Everything they do runs through his dual threat capability. But the quarterback room behind him? It is an absolute masterclass in asset management and extreme optionality. You have the well-traveled veteran Andy Dalton, the ultimate safety net, ready to step in, run the offense efficiently, and keep the ship steady without turning the ball over. Then you have their 2026 Day 3 pick, Cole Payton, who acts as this developmental, sub-package nightmare. He's a heavy, physical runner brought in specifically to shatter defensive fronts on critical third and short situations to save Hurts from taking those hits. And looming over the entire depth chart is Tanner McKee. McKee's proven high-level play in tight windows makes him the ultimate bargaining chip right now. If some desperate quarterback-needy team loses their starter in an August training camp, Howie Roseman can extort a premium draft pick, flipping McKee to further arm this roster. It's brilliant. Out wide, the receiver ecosystem has been completely redefined. Make no mistake, the massive ghost of A.J. Brown looms very large over this building. Brown used his raw, sheer physical dominance to literally bully cornerbacks off the line of scrimmage. Now, astronomical pressure falls directly onto Dontavion Wicks to fill that specific void. Wicks has to rely heavily on technical footwork, violent hand swipes, and extreme lateral quickness to avoid getting jammed at the line, because if a cornerback successfully jams Wicks, the timing of Mannion's entire passing concept is ruined. Hurts is forced to hold the ball, sacks happen, it becomes a catastrophic domino effect. Meanwhile, Devonta Smith is going to absorb incredibly heavy volume and constant double teams as the undisputed WR1. When you add in rookie McKee-Lemon working the slot, the blazing vertical spacing of Hollywood Brown and Quez Watkins, and the supersized physical blocking of Johnny Wilson, it's undeniably a very deep room. But the lack of a proven physically dominant superstar alongside Smith, that is a severe tension point that could break them if things go south. Section 5. Trench Warfare and Crucials. The Unsung Heroes. Every football fan knows that games in the National Football League are won and lost in the brutal violence of the trenches. And right now, the Eagles' offensive line is walking a terrifying tightrope. Tyler Steen is the absolute linchpin here. He owns the starting right guard spot, but his success is entirely dependent on a very delicate ecosystem around him. He desperately needs to play next to the sheer gravity of future Hall of Famer Lane Johnson. Think about it. Lane Johnson is basically an island out there. Defensive coordinators are forced to slide their protection, commit double teams, and scheme intricate stunts entirely away from Johnson. This gravity pulls the defensive focus outward, which gives Tyler Steen highly favorable one-on-one matchups against inferior defensive tackles. It creates a massive comfort zone for the young guard. If that structure holds up, Steen will dominate. But if Johnson misses time, that gravity disappears entirely, and everything changes in a heartbeat. And honestly, that brings us to the terrifying reality hiding just behind those elite starters. Look back at last year. Injuries to Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, and Lane Johnson severely derailed their entire offensive momentum. This year, look at the unproven depth sitting behind key reserves Fred Johnson and Drew Kendall. You've got Miles Hinton, Cameron Williams, Micah Morris, Willie Lampkin. These are entirely unproven commodities at the NFL level. Just imagine the horror of a rookie missing a crucial stunt pickup, allowing a 280-pound defensive end a completely free, unblocked shot at Jalen Hurts' blindside. A single major injury to a starter on this line could trigger a full-blown organizational crisis. It would force Howie Roseman to execute a desperate midseason trade, or worse, try to sign a veteran castoff like Mekhi Becton directly off the street, an act of pure, sheer desperation just to save the season from sinking into the abyss. Section 6, Championship or Bust in 2026. The final verdict. At the end of the day, there are no moral victories left in Philadelphia. The narrative has been written, the roster has been pushed to the absolute financial and physical brink, and the colossal weight of the city is resting squarely on the shoulders of these 53 men. Every single micro detail matters now. Every single blistering pressure rate from Jelix Hunt, every elite coverage grade from Jihad Campbell, every critical, high-leverage release off the line of scrimmage by Dontavion Wicks, it all converges right here, right now. The margin between cementing a historic multi-year dynasty and spiraling into a catastrophic disaster relies entirely on the absolutely flawless execution of all 22 starting positions. The margin for error has completely, unequivocally vanished. So we leave you with this chilling thought as the grueling 2026 season hurtles toward us. If the health of the offensive line falters, if a guy like Landon Dickerson or Cam Jurgens goes down in the violent trenches, does the entire 2026 season just collapse with them? Are they built to truly withstand the storm, or will a single misstep bring this whole house of cards crashing down? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And hey, don't forget to subscribe to NFL Nexus, like this explainer, and become a channel member to support more of our deep dive documentary content. We'll see you next time.